Hello, everyone. As I promised you to give a special issue about geothermal energy, in fact, this is a part of a seminar given online uh, as a part of activities from uh, the Sustainable Development Forum in Al-Karkh University for Science in Iraq, and I gave this seminar according to an invitation I received it. And I'm going to talk about the first part for that seminar, and I will not go through much details because I want the video to be short and at the same time fruitful, and I will pass through the main aspects of that seminar. The objectives for this part of the seminar are to cover Iraq's fossil fuel resources, as we know that Iraq is one of the important countries who contribute to the international market by oil. And then I will pass through the status of electricity in Iraq at the present time and how the efforts are going on for development and adding more loads. And finally, in this part, I will pass through a critical point, which is the object of this seminar. It is the geothermal energy technology in power plants. That means we have other application to geothermal energy, which will be covered on the second part of this seminar. Iraq fossil fuel resources compose of oil resources. And as we know, Iraq has a high, what we call it, reserves of oil. And it is considered to be one of the top five countries globally contribute to the international market in a growth range from 2018 until 2030. So Iraq has a big or a huge reservoir of oil that can be used for uh, the fossil fuel production. Iraq has also gas resources, and the gas resources, in fact, suffers from the problem of flaring. Flaring, it means that the natural gas that is produced in conjunction with the oil industry or the oil production. And as you see, that the flaring gas, which is represented by the green part, represents a huge value, and we can say that this is has a bad impact on the environment and on the economy where energy can be produced. In this short video, I just want to explain what's the meaning of gas flaring. Gas flaring is a lost energy, in fact, that the gas which is accompanying the production of oil or in petrochemical or refinery in general. In the oil industry, uh, gas is burnt out and rejected to the environment. And in that sense, we are losing energy, we are losing money, and at the same time, we are causing a big problem to the environment because of the flue gases that is uh, dispatched to the environment. So, Iraq has a huge amount of flaring gas, and at the same time, as you see in this video, the flue gases are just dispersed inside in the environment and causes global warming potential, which affects the green life that we are looking for. And at the same time, Iraq, according to some oil experts in the industry, they suggested that 40% of this natural gas, if can be captured and used, we may produce about 3.5 gigawatt, which is a huge amount when we consider Iraq production for electricity. And at the same time, as you burn this amount of natural gas, then you are losing money and you hurt the economy. And in 2022, experts have postulated that Iraq lost about $2 billion due to flaring of gas. And now let us go to see Iraq's electricity status. Of course, Iraq produce a good level of electricity, but again, it is not enough for the public demand of different sectors. In this illustration, we can see that if we take the level of production in 2018, the green one, as the reference for other years, we are producing electricity or the production is increased uh, by developing the existing power plants or adding other units to produce electricity. In fact, the people who are working in the electricity sector are working hardly to provide electricity to the public or to different sectors, industrial sectors, and governmental sectors, public and domestic use. But again, as the production increases, the demand increases, and usually we are lower than the demand line, which is shown in this figure, the solid blue line. Usually the demand is higher than the produced electricity. And that curve shows uh, we need some solutions. We need other contribution to electricity production. And now let us describe electricity sources or energy sources for producing electricity in Iraq. The major part for electricity production depends or mainly depends on fossil fuel such as oil and gas. And if we consider the production of electricity in Iraq, it depends is about for about 57% of the power plants, and their production depends on natural gas, whereas for oil is only about 37%. And if we look at the renewable energy resources, are almost negligible, except if we consider the hydro power or hydro electric power as a renewable energy, then it will be uh, within a contribution of around 6%. And still, we are talking about renewable energy. And the main sources for renewable energy are wind energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, and other resources where you can use even biomass uh, for energy production and can be used to produce electricity. So even if we look at the curve for the last year, the production of electricity approached around 30 gigawatt, but still it wasn't enough to uh, meet summer peak demand. As we know, maybe the temperature there approaches around 50 degrees Celsius, and that means you need to cool down the space where you are living in, cool down the uh, governmental establishment, factories, the people who are working in the bureaus, they need cooling. So in general, it wasn't enough to cover the demand. Having said that about the Iraq's fossil fuel resources, the flaring gas problem to the environment and the economy, in addition to the demand of electricity and the production in Iraq, where the production of electricity does not match the demand of the nation in Iraq for different sectors, including the industry, commercial, domestic, state establishments. So the problem uh, uh, what we call it call for solutions. And one of the solutions which I think we have to investigate in Iraq is the geothermal energy, which is a part of the renewable energy resources in Iraq, in addition to the solar, wind, and other resources. So if we have a look at this table, which is available on the internet, it gives you general uh, information about the uh, geothermal resources and give a general form for temperature distribution with depth. So what we have between 10 and 200 meter is the temperature around 30. Uh, if we go deep to 2.5 kilometer, then the temperature may approach 90. And if we go deeper to 5 kilometer, we may approach 150 Celsius. So these temperatures just a general, because it depends on the structure of Earth, the geo part, which is related to the different geological structure. And at the same time, it depends on the climate where we are dealing. So I think geothermal is one of the options where we can use in Earth. In general, we may talk about something related to engineers and experts who are working in this field. It is called the geothermal gradient, which refers to the temperature variation or rise with depth. For example, in Europe is around the 30 Celsius per kilometer. I mean for the geothermal gradient. And in Iraq, some studies refer to 21 degrees centigrade per 1 kilometer, which has been obtained for from some research in north of Iraq. Although it depends, it varies from one place to another. But again, this is a technical term used for geothermal energy use. It is called geothermal gradient. The point which should be known for engineers and for the public, of course, is how can we extract this energy and convert it to electricity? And maybe the fundamental cycle for it is called Rankine cycle. And Rankine cycle is a thermal cycle. The simple one uh, composes four components: evaporator, turbine, condenser, and pumping unit is the pump. So in this cycle, energy is extracted from outside. It could be fossil fuel, renewable energy source, or even waste energy recovery sources that where we can get these sources from the losses of industrial sites as well. And the energy is extracted in the evaporator where the working fluid of the cycle evaporated and then passes through a turbine where energy has been exchanged and changed to electricity with the aid of generator. And in that sense, the electricity is supplied to the outside, to the public or where it is used. And the fluid passes through a condenser. In the condenser, a condensation process occurs. And usually we may use water for cooling, and that water comes from a river or lake or even from cooling tower or geothermal reservoir. We can discharge energy to ground or even for technical use before discharging to the river or maybe for agriculture purposes. And the fluid condensed, changed to liquid, and then pumped by the pump, return back to the evaporator. Then this cycle is called Rankine cycle. And at the end, we have uh, extract energy from outside, and then we change it to electricity. So the fundamental is how to get the energy from outside, and then in this unit, we will convert it to electricity. So, in using the geothermal energy for electricity production, we may pass through the types of power plants. The first type is called the dry steam geothermal power plants, and usually they extract steam at temperature greater than 235 Celsius. And the second type is called flash steam geothermal power plant, where water is extracted at 182 Celsius, and as it rises up, the pressure drops, and a part of that hot water is evaporated and then passes through a cycle to complete the power production. And finally, we have binary cycle geothermal power, which uses an intermediate cycle or we call it other fluid in a heat exchanger, which extracts energy from hot water uh, that is extracted from Earth at temperature range between 107 to 182 Celsius. And now let us talk about uh, thermal energy and how geothermal energy is converted to electricity. For this cycle, we have a system called the dry steam geothermal power plant. In this system, steam is extracted from earth. We call this part as production well, where it provides steam, and then the steam passes through the turbine directly, and the turbine is a part of the Rankine cycle, which we have described earlier, produces electricity to supply for modern life use for factories, for domestic, for governmental state bureaus, and so on. And at the end, we will get the condensed fluid from this cycle, return back to a well called uh, injection well. So in general, for this type of power plant, geothermal energy is used, steam extracted from earth, and usually this is at a temperature higher to 235 or something like that, because we are talking about uh, Rankine cycle, which needs fluid or steam at a proper temperature to be converted to electricity. And now let us compare renewable energy resources in different countries, neighboring countries to Iraq, and compare it with the United States of America. And it's clear from this table, Iraq has no other sources for energy. And here we can see that these values are in terawatt hour produced by these resources. And if we compare it to Turkey, uh, wind, they have wind energy, solar energy, bio mass energy, and geothermal as well, in addition to other resources. And we have Jordan, they have the wind and solar, and they use solar energy in heating of domestic places or even in governmental establishments. We have USA, if we compare it, of course, it has a huge amount of production from renewable energy resources, and Iraq is producing only zero point 0.4 terawatt hour from solar energy. So that explains the reason why we should go for other resources. Therefore, if we put as a closure for this part of the seminar, we may just have a look at the Iraq status for electricity. And production depends mainly on fossil fuels. And what it is produced, it is not enough to the demand, and uh, there is no contribution for the renewable energy for electricity production or even for other use such as heating or cooling systems. And that's why I think we should focus on using these resources, such as the geothermal energy, which will be explained in the next part of this seminar. And you may find some references in a PDF file in the description of this video. And I hope that you have enjoyed this part of the seminar. And on the next part, I will focus on the cooling and heating systems. And I hope that you enjoyed contents, and see you in the next part. Have a nice day. Bye bye.